Now, these are the Jamaica Jazz Sessions that we're hosting. It's absolutely brilliant that you're here.
I'm here. It's been a while.
Moses Boyd, in the Brownswood basement. We got it all set up. It's sticky hot.
It's funky.
Jamaica weather.
Exactly.
Do you ever go? Have you been?
No, you know what? It's no. I think since Windrush and all of that, a lot of my family migrated here from both sides, from Dominica and Jamaica, and kind of lost connection in a way. So the majority of my family are here. And I was meant to go this year, did it happen, but soon. Yeah.
Is there a pool? A musical pool for you?
Yeah, definitely for sure. I'm gonna go up in the mountains and, play some bingy, So yeah, definitely for sure.
I mean, your career is great. It's all going brilliant at the moment, the amount of work you're doing. I've been hearing some of your new music. Actually, you're all over the new Jolman Jones album. And a great success actually today at the Mercury Prize. Well, Cassie Kinoshi. Nominated.
Yeah, the scene's doing amazing. Man.
I mean, it's amazing, right? This is the year there could have been Ezra Collective.
Exactly.
Comet is Coming.
Yep.
And the Seed Ensemble.
And Joe,
And Joe, yeah, was that this?
Oh no.
We mistimed it. We should have put it out a month ago. We might have just got a nomination, but for next year. But anyway, it's obviously a magical moment. It keeps coming. The level is just rising. And so the last record that I worked with you on was the Zara McFarlane album.
Yes, Arise.
Which was a super Jamaica influenced record. Tell us a bit about that and where you think the jazz scene from the UK connects with Jamaica and the music coming from there.
So, in so many ways, I think the UK has been so good at fostering sound system culture, not even from jazz. If you look back to whether it's jungle, garage, grime, these are all sort of, they've taken elements of Jamaican sound system culture and kind of infused it in a way only London can. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's also carried on through to jazz and the jazz that's being made now with all the names that you're mentioning, people that have grown up listening to broken beat, grime, jungle, but then when they sort of discover jazz, it's like they've got this different lens to kind of put their mark and their attitude, their personality, all this Britishness that, we've got, that's been, greatly in debt to Jamaican sound system and music culture. And then on the flip side, I guess you could say, on a more sort of family connections level, people like, at least in my world, Gary Crosby and Courtney Pine and Steve Williamson, Coleridge Good. There's been a strong connection, particularly in jazz musicians, from the Alpha Boys that came here, from the Alpha Boys School, Joe Harriott, Rico Rodriguez, and there's always been kind of a strong Jamaican jazz musicians really performing here in London. So I feel like I'm very much connected. Do you know what I mean? People like Eddie Tantan Thornton, and it's still here. It's still prevalent in the DNA. People are still around. They're still playing. You can go and catch gigs and talk to your elders and get some information. And so it comes from all sides really.
I mean, it's amazing when you talk about Joe Harriott and you think, he came here in the 50s.
Yeah.
And his impact beyond, he changed jazz. Not just someone who had, so what do you think it was about the way Jamaicans were hearing jazz from America and bringing it back to the UK? What do you think was the unique kind of a way that they approached the music through ska or through people like Vin Gordon that you're going to be playing with?
Yeah. I think it's interesting, man. It's a lot of elements. I think, at least that era of, and through all the eras of Jamaican music, it's there was a lot of schooling, if you look at the history of the Alpha Boys School and all of the great musicians that came through there, bands like the Scatterlights and so on and so forth. So it's I'm thinking that would be my grandparents' era and, very proper, very still connected to these ideas of Britishness, of, education and all of these sort of fundamentals in them. But then, Jamaicans are so unique culturally. So, you take all of that, the knowledge and the way to operate, and you put it in the UK, and you're in a completely different environment. You've got some freedoms you didn't have in the West Indies, and you've also got a pool of diversity you didn't have. And, I'm not saying it was as easy as that back in those days, but, I'm thinking of some of them Joe Harriott albums, like the Indo jazz one that he's doing. I'm like, there's no way that could have happened while he was in Jamaica. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And having that sort of tenacity and that boldness and that sort of spirit to try new forms and flex things around is, something I see a lot in just the culture of West Indians and Jamaicans in particular. I
mean, obviously the big global influence of Jamaica is probably the drum and the bass.
Yeah.
The Sly and Robbie.
Yep.
And then there's those great musicians like Vin Gordon.
Yep.
And Joe Harriet.
Yeah.
Play Augustus Pablo.
Yeah.
All that. With regards to the kind of players, do you feel that there's a generation right now in Jamaica, or has it all just gone dance hall? Have they kind of just put it all into reggae, or there's artists like Coffee, there's some new people coming through who are more soul. Is there a feel that there could be a parallel to the jazz thing that's happening here going back there?
I don't know. I may not be the best authority to say that, but I don't know. I think Jamaicans are so innovative naturally. They change forms so. Musically, artistically, stylistically, it always evolves. And they're like very good at shifting culture. So maybe not. I don't know. I'd have to go and do some research and see. But I think what's interesting now, if you look at say myself or someone like Theon Cross or Shabaka Hutchins, Zara McFarlane, we are the grandchildren of that generation that came to kind of set up roots here. So I think what's interesting now, we have the opportunity to, if it's not there, go back and create that bridge. So there is, the dream hasn't completely left, and there's no sort of exchange that's not happening. We need to kind of create those things, and it is happening. When I'm talking to people in Martinique and St. Lucia, and people are more aware, at least in my circles, of like, we need to kind of go back and replant these seeds that were planted here. So.
Well, I mean, the work you did with Zara McFarlane is interesting because already she's been getting played on Jamaican radio, and that's like quite impactful, to get into that playlist with her music, which is this unique blend that you created. What are you going to do for us today? What's the idea?
So we've just got trio form of the Exodus, really. We've got a synth bass, slightly new setup I've been working on, but just going to be playing some original compositions of mine, really. All of my music is heavily influenced, through the lens of me, but it's directly influenced by records like these, Count Ozzy, Bob Marley, and then, more recently records like Grime or artists like Wiley and Dizzy Rascal. So I'm just going to be doing me, really.
Good. Today. And you're going to be doing the show with Vin Gordon as well?
Yes.
What do you know about him? Have you been studying his Scatlights
work?
Been
checking him out, yeah. We were talking about him earlier, like, just, playing with Burning Spear and Bob Marley, and he's a legend, so it'll be interesting to. I'm just going to be asking him questions after time. Maybe we might not even get through us, to be fair. But it'll be cool. It'll be cool to kind of explore his songbook and kind of give a bit of reverence to his career and his contribution to music, really.
Brilliant. Moses Boyd, it's a pleasure to be working with you on this project.
Yeah, nice.